Hello everybody. In today's video we're doing the full build video of Kremvh's tooth. Now I know the last time I posted the teaser for it was like a month ago, but between going through all the editing of 3 hours video down to something in terms of watchable amount of time, that and plus stuff going on personal wise, I just hadn't got a chance to get around to it. It's not weapons grade steel, it's just mild steel I built this thing out of. I should give a big shout out to my buddy who lent the use of his skills and the plasma cutter that he owns in order to cut out the actual holes in the blade and the overall shape of the blade, because it would have taken me forever with the grinder. I guess we'll call my buddy Dodge. First of all, because he's a big fan of Dodge trucks. It's an unhealthy obsession for you, man. You need to stop. But anyways, and the other reason too is he'll get this inside joke, but it involves the spark plug incident. But I'll leave it at that. So thank you very much to my buddy Dodge for lending the use of his plasma cutter to make this build so much easier. As we get into the further steps of the build, it was a very interesting project in the sense that because of the way that the blade is represented in the game, it's represented as an old artifact type weapon. It's very gritty, very grainy, you can tell it's been around for a while. That was one of the things that was really fun about this project, was just taking a grinder and hacking away at it. I build knives as a hobby, and to go from trying to get the most polished, most perfect thing I can build to going to a build like this where you're effectively trying to gouge away big chunks and make it look just like it's been around for a long time was a welcome change. It was a lot of fun building this thing. One of the things I ended up doing after getting the entire blade sanded down, polished, all that type of stuff, well, not polished, but sanded down to get the paint off and basically the protective film that they put on the steel to stop it from rusting when it's in storage. After I sanded all that stuff off, what I did was I actually sprayed saltwater solution on it for about a week, and that was to create little micro pits in it and stuff like that, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a weathered look. After letting it rust up and then wire wheeling it, I applied some gun bluing so that the blade would have a bit more darker texture to it, and then I let that sit in a moisture kind of laden environment to rust up a bit more, and then I went over it with a wire wheel again. That way it kind of, the deeper lower spots would still have the dark grittiness to it, but the higher spots would be raised and more polished, kind of as if it had been used. So it was one of those things that was really, really fun to build, just because I got to employ a bunch of different techniques that you normally wouldn't do when you're trying to build a blade. Usually when you build a blade, you want to make it so that it's nice, pristine kind of looking. You want it to show that that's your best work that you can do. I actually spent more time making it look like it was old than I would have on a regular knife, making it look good and nice and polished and all that type of stuff. Okay, so now that we had the blade finished, I needed to put a handle on it. As I mentioned before, the steel in the blade is not high carbon or anything like that. It's just regular mild steel. And so, being that this weapon is a decoration piece more so than it is functional, I needed to put a handle on it. So I decided to go with pine, because judging by the pictures in the game, the handle is actually old, weather-cracked wood. And the best way to simulate that would be to use a softwood like pine and carve out the individual kind of like cracks to make it look more as if it had been, sitting around being used and whatnot for quite a while. But after building the handle and getting everything kind of polished up the way I wanted to do some weapons testing to see if it was still functional as a weapon. So first thing I tried out was a Minecraft zombie head painted on a cardboard box. That was painted by my son for me. He wanted to help out the channel. He likes Minecraft. He actually has his own channel where he does Minecraft videos. But yeah, so he really wanted to help me out, so I had to be obliged to try to kill a Minecraft zombie cardboard box head thing. And as you can see in the video, it does do a pretty good job cutting through the cardboard, maybe more so ripping and tearing through the cardboard, but it certainly does the job. Next up, I wanted to test, it was coconut. The main reason for testing coconut is that coconut simulates basically the same amount of force you'd need to crack a human skull. You need to have that to crack open a coconut. So there's other channels out there that do weapons testing all the time and stuff like that, and they test them on coconuts just to see if it would actually pierce a skull or crack a skull or whatever. So as you can see in the footage, it definitely does that. It certainly does a number on the coconut. The next testing I wanted to do was on some steel to try to represent body armor. So I ended up finding a used fender from a car just to kind of test some light sheet metal armor that maybe somebody wandering through the wastelands in Fallout 4 might encounter. That's one of the things about the designs of the armor is there's a lot of just kind of improvised armor, so that was the reason for that test. The next test I decided to do was kind of the standard weapons test is cut through a water bottle. It was kind of interesting viewing the slow motion footage. What ended up happening is the bottle actually nestled right into the crescent shape on the end of the blade quite well, and even though this blade isn't sharpened with like a fine stone or anything like that, so considering it sliced halfway through that water bottle before it just kind of flung it out of the way, that it's not a great cutting weapon, but it's a good tearing weapon. The final test I decided to do was on a piece of wood, just to see if it would kind of split a piece of wood, kind of similar to what a small hatchet would, and there was no contest there. It just naturally chopped through. It's probably about the same sharpness as an axe you'd pick up from, like, you know, a home improvement store. It's not super sharp, but it gets the job done. Okay, everybody, that's kind of that. As I said before, this is built as a decoration piece more so than an actual functional weapon, but as you've seen in the testing, it does certainly pack quite a punch, and I wanted to build it just because of the uniqueness of this particular design. If you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Yeah, so that's that, and thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.